Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about men and eating disorders. More specifically, men who do strength training and lift weights and also have eating disorders. You wouldn't think they have eating disorders, but you would be surprised. I was a personal trainer earlier in my life, and that's actually when I started to develop binging and purging behavior. So people thought I was super healthy and super fit, and in the background I was binging and purging, which is kind of ironic. But there were a lot of men who were dealing with that, so that's what I'm talking about tonight. I had an email exchange with somebody, and I wanted to go through these emails and talk about some of the points that he brought up. I'm not going to say where he lives, and I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to keep that confidential, but still wanted to talk about it. He talks about his, weight loss journey, and he says, when I was younger, I was very slim and wouldn't gain weight. It's pretty typical for males. Then he gained some weight. He stopped drinking sports, started partying. Same old, same old. My doctor kept urging me to get some of it off, and it was impacting my health. I tried diets. Well, that was the first thing, right? So you try a diet. That's usually where these things start. It starts with one diet, and usually people don't go on one diet. They go on multiple diets, and they only compound the problem. So I call it serial dieting. You just go from one diet to the next, but it's usually that first diet that screws things up, and then you spend the next few years of your life trying to fix the damage. I would try diets, and it would fail. No surprise. Let's see. And then I met a partner. She was very slim. This made me self-conscious about myself. Yeah, a lot of men are self-conscious about their bodies, especially when society teaches that men need to be strong and need to have nice delts and a nice chest and a nice anterior. Women are supposed to have nice boobs and a nice butt. That's why you see women at the gym doing glute thrusts. Their heads on the bench and they've got a bar over their lap and they're lifting it up. You never see guys doing that. You always see guys doing chest press. Okay, I like to think that people go to the gym to get healthy. That's probably really naive. So we got self-conscious about it. Then I dieted again. See, serial dieting. This time I stuck to the diet and I was down 16 stone. Okay, and I guess that kind of gives away where he's from, at least the country at least. Weight loss wasn't slow and it was too quick and rushed, which is another problem. Go see my other video on rapid weight loss and why you shouldn't do it. I looked like death. That's what I looked like. I think at the lowest I was 52 or 53 kilos, which is scary low for me. I don't think I would go lower than like 55, even that's really lean. Anyway, I then reached a goal weight and I stopped. I tried to control my food just in fear of putting any weight back on. Yep, same thing. I looked a lot healthier and felt healthier. Also, around 24 years old, my weight started to creep up. I don't have any memory of the first time I purged, but this was the start of my bulimia cycle. So 23, 24, it's that vulnerable time. I think a lot of women start eating disorders in their late teens, usually when they're in college, high school or college. I find that in men it starts a little later. It's usually in the early 20s as they become self-conscious of their bodies and they start to go to the gym, they start to lift weights, and they see other men at the gym who have the physique that they want. That's when they start reading the fitness magazines. That's usually when it goes downhill. I managed to get into weight training, very good, and I stopped bulimic behaviors. I love training, good. Kept this for 2 years. I started a new job and built some stress due to becoming. Okay, it's not the best grammar. I became a manager, and this triggered the bulimia again. Now, here's the thing about triggers. There's no such thing as a trigger. Okay, I know this is kind of a controversial stance to take, but I'm one to believe that nothing can trigger you. Okay, nothing can make you do anything. Triggers. The only trigger is your choice. That's all a trigger is. It's just a bad choice. And then you ascribe that choice to something else. I used to think for a long time that I had all these trigger foods and that I couldn't keep peanut butter and candy and cookies, pretty much anything in my home. For years, my kitchen was basically empty because I didn't trust myself. Now over here, I've got M&Ms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't eat it very much. But the reason I keep it in my home is a reminder that's what I used to binge on, and I couldn't keep that in my home at one point in my life. Now I'm at a different point in my life, and I'm recovered, and I don't have problems keeping that kind of food in my house. Now, at one point, I used to say that stuff was a trigger, and if I got near it, then I would binge on it, but it was always my choice. The trigger was an illusion. Anyway, so stress, yeah, people eat out of stress most of the time. I felt relief from binging and purging. That's usually why people do it, because it does bring that instant gratification. When you finally get it out of you, either through purging or some sort of compensation, it does bring that momentary relief, like, oh, it's out of me. Having that being bloated after a binge is the worst feeling. You just want it out of you. So I get it. I get the whole urge to do it. This went on for years. Yeah, too bad. There have been extended periods where I've been able to stop and eat normal again, and then I relapsed. Yep. So relapse is pretty typical. There are ways to avoid relapse. I teach that in my program. But yeah, it's pretty common. I went about 4 or 5 months at one point. I thought, okay, it's over. I'm over it now. I can just move on. And then it came back with a vengeance after 5 months, which tells you that those pathways are still there. And if you have the right combination, maybe it's an environmental cue, or maybe, it could be, or just too much stress, it can reactivate those pathways. It's unfortunate. So when I wake up, I have 0 urges. I feel quite steady. As soon as I have my first meal, my brain seems to detect this, and I get the most insane urges to go binge. I remember reading the inspiration blogs. I don't know if you see this, but there are these entire blogs on Tumblr, and it's these young females who post pictures of pretty fit females, and it's supposed to inspire you to eat less and eat right. That's why they call it inspiration. And there was this one meme. This is years ago, and it said, if I eat anything, I'll eat everything. So I eat nothing at all. And that's kind of like saying I have no choice in the matter, and there's nothing that can stop me. So once I start eating, then I won't be able to stop. That's a very common complaint I hear about from people with eating disorders. It's like it's easy to fast. It's almost easier to fast and just go a long time without food than it is to start and then stop. I also have a video on that. It's called how to stop eating once you've started. So you should go watch that video if you have that problem. I fight these thoughts all day. Well, you shouldn't fight them. That's why you're losing. Fighting these thoughts, you can't fight these thoughts. You're gonna have thoughts in your head that you can't get rid of. I've gone years with the same thoughts in my head, but they don't mean anything. That's the point. You don't have to do anything about it. It might be a nuisance, but the dog next door is a nuisance. The leaf blower is a nuisance. There's a lot of nuisances in your life. You can't get rid of them. You just have to tolerate them. That's what these thoughts are in your head. I can't think straight at all for being completely food obsessed. My recommendation: try meditation. Try some quiet time. It's kind of like hitting the reset button on a video game console. Just hit the button. That's what meditation does. I sometimes just fast when I wake up to get relief from my brain, because as soon as I have a meal, it's constant all day. That's my point. So sometimes it's easier to fast than it is to actually to abstain. I become irritable and anxious. Okay, like hangry maybe. My partner doesn't. This disorder makes you become very sneaky and able to plan things out. Yeah, it does. I once shoplifted in my early days. I would just shoplift stuff. I didn't want to buy it, so I would cheat this is back in the day when self-checkout wasn't that good. It wasn't as secure as it is now, and there were ways to cheat the system. And when you have an addiction, you find ways of cheating. You do. You start stealing stuff. You start becoming very sneaky. You start lying. You start doing things you never thought you would do. It's a very odd place to be. I binge purge once daily with the odd days here and there where I can battle my thoughts and get through the day. I suffer with extreme hunger. I've never had extreme hunger. And for the longest time, so I'm going to read the next thing. I'm sure I have damaged all the signals my stomach to my brain to say stop. No, you haven't. That's the thing. Like that, the appetite mechanism in your brain is still working. You're so used to ignoring it that you don't know what it's like to actually respond to it. You're so used to overriding those signals that you think that they're broken. So why don't you try this? Why don't you take a few bites, see how you respond, see how you feel, And I trust me, you won't have this extreme hunger. You think you have extreme hunger, what you have is the urge to binge. That's what you have. I do hold down meals daily. I think that means he doesn't purge. I don't want to lose any weight, and I still want to try to keep my body balanced. Good. So I hold meals in. Um, Eating disorder specialists aren't very good. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think they're good-hearted, but they have a lot of knowledge. They haven't been there themselves. So it's very hard to treat somebody when you haven't been there. You don't understand their mindset. Sorry for this Bible of a story. No, that's okay. That's why I'm here. Here are the answers. So I asked him some questions in another email. Here's what he said. Have you tried a specialist? I've tried structured eating, 3 meals and 3 snacks. You can probably get rid of the snacks. You don't need that. I tried keeping trigger foods out of the house. Yeah, I tried that for years and never worked. Because no matter where you are in this country and probably in Britain too, you're never more than 5 or 10 minutes from a grocery store. I mean, I could throw a rock from this room and hit a grocery store. It's not hard. There's an ethnic grocery store. There's a Target. There's a Walmart. There's 2 Targets actually. Um, there's a Lucky. There's a Save Mart. It's just not that hard. And then there's the convenience stores. Okay, so keeping stuff out of the house, it seems logical to do that, but what are you supposed to do? Live with an empty kitchen the rest of your life? That doesn't make sense. I also tried prescribed medication, and it actually made it a lot worse. Yeah, some medications can actually make that worse. Let's see, what seems to work best for you? Structured eating. Okay. I recently had to give up my most recent employment due to my bulimia. So this is usually eating disorders. Usually it impacts your health first, and then it starts impacting other areas of your life. So it starts affecting your performance at school, it starts affecting your performance at work, it starts affecting your relationships. It doesn't, that's the thing, it's not just a personal problem. It starts affecting other people. So now you're at this job and you're supposed to be performing and you're not. So now you're cheating your employer, you're cheating your coworkers, you're cheating the customers who are there. This is something that needs to get fixed, dude. I also would have saved a load of money. Yeah, it's expensive. Binge eating is expensive, man. It's also very wasteful mental disorder, extremely. You spend your last few pounds, dollars just to satisfy your urge, whereas that money could go towards holidays, new house, etc. Yeah, it could. Let's see. I've noticed health issues. I was getting a lot of chest pains. I have had to use stomach medication to ease painful cramps. Wasting my digestive tract. Yeah, it does. I mean, if you're using laxatives, and yeah, you're damaging the digestive tract. Throat and teeth are becoming damaged too. Fortunately, I guess I didn't have that damage. I got lucky. Bulimia has 0 positives. Guys, I want to make a point here. This kind of behavior, like addictive type behavior, eating disorders, there is absolutely 0 benefit to it. There's no value. There's no positive. Other than that endorphin rush while you're actually doing it, it's not doing anything for you. If you made a list of pros and cons, the pro would be like 1, and then the cons would be 4 or 5 pages. It's a really bad deal. There are 0 positives, none. It is just a destructive illness. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Let's see. Best options I would use was weight training. Yeah, keep up the weight training. That's like the one thing you're doing right now. Let's see. Macros. This was from following guys on the fitness scene on YouTube. They all have the same protocol. Religiously track intake. I would much prefer this now than binging and purging. So my advice to you would be to stop listening to these guys. I'm not saying I'm God and I know everything, but some of the worst sources of information for nutrition are strength athletes and bodybuilders and personal trainers. They just have really weird ideas about nutrition. If I were you, I would not listen to them. I would not listen to any guru. In fact, I would just eat a very normal, simple diet. You don't need the protein powders. You don't need 200 grams of protein a day. You don't need any of that. So I would stop watching that stuff. I think it's only making your problem worse. Let's see. How did you get a good relationship with food? That's actually a topic for a good video. I easily knock back 5 to 10,000 calories. Yeah, especially if you're eating stuff like that's really high in fat and sugar, and it's very easy to digest. Like, I mean, I could eat an entire pack of Oreos in minutes. I mean, it was easy, and I still wouldn't feel full. Some eating disorder coaches say, listen to your hunger, and if you're craving 10,000 calories, and have that. I don't know any eating disorder coach who says that. I don't know one. Listen to your hunger, yes, but if you do that, you're not going to eat 10,000 calories. I guarantee you. Do you believe this is a recovery mindset? No, I don't. You're Listen, I've done multiple day fasts. Even after that, I didn't crave anywhere near that. All I wanted after 3 days was a sweet potato. I just wanted something. I didn't need that much. No. Do you prefer more structure like 3 large meals and 3 snacks approach? Um, I like 3 meals. I don't think you need 3 snacks. When I last managed to get hold of my bulimia, I was doing meals plus snacks while incorporating weight training 4 times a week. And this hunger actually started to level out. I wasn't thinking of food 24/7. Then do that. Structured meals and weight training. I do weight training every day. It's one of the best things I did this year. I was at a show with my partner yesterday. I'm not sure, is that like a fitness show or something? I was plagued with food thoughts from the moment I had my first meal. Yeah, so this seems to be your problem. You're doing well, and then as soon as you start eating, you just want more and more and more. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but you're gonna have to tolerate some uncomfortable feelings to get out of this. You're already tolerating uncomfortable feelings, so why don't you just tolerate different uncomfortable feelings? So the uncomfortable feelings I'm talking about is eating and then stopping, because you're gonna have that voice in your head that says to keep eating, keep eating. If you just take a break for 20 or 30 minutes and you just wait, it's like waiting for a thunderstorm. Thunderstorm comes, it's gone in 30 minutes. This becomes me. This caused me to become slightly irritable and lose concentration. Yes, I know what you're talking about. But the answer isn't to consume more. That just makes it worse. Just feel like it's a never-ending cycle. Yeah, I know. It does feel like that. I get it, but it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. Did you ever go down the medication route? I did not. No. I don't know too much about medications in regards to appetite suppression. I know metformin kind of suppresses appetite, but unless you have diabetes, no physician is going to give you that. And you shouldn't develop diabetes just to get metformin. It's not really worth it. Topiramate, I've heard, can kind of control urges for a while. Let's see. I think my bulimia has gotten worse. I trained today, though I have felt loads better. I stopped training as a lot of coaches always say you need to rest. I don't know who says that. I think you're getting some really bad advice, dude. I think you're getting some really bad advice. I don't understand those recovery coaches that say no exercise and eat. Neither do I. I don't know any coaches who say that. Who says to rest? Unless you're severely injured, you shouldn't be resting at all. For me, if I went with my current hunger, I would knock back 10,000 calories in a day. That's not what your current hunger is calling for. You're ignoring your current hunger. That's your problem. My hunger signals are miles off just now. No, again, the problem is you're just ignoring those signals. Those signals are fine. Really is. You don't know what it's like to be hungry and then to satiate that hunger. You don't. You're so disconnected from your hunger at this point. I would balloon in a short period of time and I would relapse very bad. I was watching a video and the coach said they eat 10,000 calories in recovery. I don't recommend that. Basically, I don't. I don't recommend eating 10,000 calories in a day ever. I don't think anybody should be doing that. Even athletes don't need nearly that much. What it wants, 5,000 calories refines your mood. Just okay. I've come to the idea that with these constant binge purge cycles, I am in fact malnourished, and this is why my brain sends those insane binge urges. I don't think it's because you're malnourished. I think it's because you have trained your brain to expect that amount of food. So now your brain thinks that's what you need. Your brain thinks you need that to survive. Once you start the habit, it's really hard to get rid of it. even when your circumstances improve, even when your life improves, even when you start, um, even when you start other healthy habits, it's hard to get rid of this habit because it's so powerful, it's so primitive. We're talking about food. Food is one of the most basic necessities of life. That's what makes eating disorders really hard to treat. I don't think you're malnourished at all. It's just you've got to stop. You've got to stop the cycle at some point. I teach that in my program, and in some of my videos. You can go back and watch some of my previous videos. So no, if you're eating 5 or 10,000 calories every time you binge, you're not malnourished. You're overnourished. It is my brain saying to eat and give my body nutrition to replenish itself. You've replenished yourself and more. I have incorporated foods which I believe are very nutrient dense instead of just a quick hunger fix. Good. I still add in treats here and there, but I can only eat treats in the evening near my bedtime. If I eat something sweet early in the day, it seems to trigger my binge urges like crazy. It doesn't trigger them; it just creates those urges. But again, you don't have to respond to those urges. I know it's uncomfortable not to respond to it, but that's the only way out. It's really the only way out. I don't know how you recover without some form of discomfort. I just don't. If I eat treats at night and then go to bed, I'm fine. I know this isn't ideal, but it's better than the later. It's better just not to eat them at all. But do you know any tips on how to control these binge urges? Well, you can't control them, but you don't have to respond to them. It's a huge difference. You get that urge, you reject it, and you move on. It's going to be uncomfortable at first. I think that's what makes recovery so hard. So because in the moment it's so easy just to say, well, I can say no tomorrow. I can say no tomorrow. I can recover tomorrow. I can exert willpower tomorrow. But today, I'm just going to capitulate because I don't want to deal with this urge. And then the next thing you know, you have an eating disorder for 5, 6, 10 years. I become very irritated and restless once they hit. I know, because that's how the brain makes you do what it wants you to do. Okay, that's its weapon. It makes you restless and it takes your focus. I'm hoping over time and my body getting fully nourished, my brain eventually says we're good now. It's not going to get that way because you've trained your body to expect all that. It's never going to say we're good now. You have to teach it that 2,000 or 3,000 calories is good. Okay, and the only way to do that is to start changing your decisions. Switch these off, and I know this can take a while. It can take a while. I would say 2 to 3 months to start changing these pathways. Some people do it really fast. I don't know how they did it. It took me a few months. Really did. Thanks for any advice. You're welcome. I'll just call him John. It's not his real name, it's a pseudonym. But I thought this was a very interesting email exchange. There was so much in here that reminded me of my own journey. And a few years ago, this was basically me. I was a personal trainer, physical therapist. I was promoting health. I valued health and fitness, and then I was binging in the background. So you're not alone, and I'm here to help. That's why I make these videos. So if you found this video interesting, check out some of my other videos, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss another video like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.